Welcome to another episode of the Tarot by Hilary podcast. This week we have the monthly call-in show where you call in and ask your questions live on the air. And if we don't have live call-ins, what I've decided to do is to read from the mailbag. I realized that I am super behind on answering emails, and some of these emails are frequently asked questions. So I figured I might as well take care of those while I'm doing the live call-in show. Because why not? Anyway, if you're not familiar with my work, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. So I do a weekly live stream Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Book of Face and the Tube of You. And then I also, in addition to that, do a podcast, which is the Tarot by Hilary podcast, which is what you're hearing in your ears right now, or possibly viewing on the Tube of You, because I might just put this up on the Tube of You as a, a video podcast episode. Who knows? So today, let us jump into the mailbag. There's a couple of questions that I've been getting asked recently, some of which I have answered previously in my blog that I have, my website that I have, tarotbyhilary.com. That is also where you can book a reading with me or a tapping session with me. And so I wanted to bring people's attention to that article that I wrote several years ago to address the questions that I got asked. And then I'm also going to jump into the mailbag. So let's start with the mailbag first, because that is top of mind to me. I just thought about it and I was just like, oh, yeah, I need to answer those. So let's get into it. So I'm not going to credit any of the people that are asking these questions. I'm going to keep them anonymous. And as I answer these questions, you'll probably figure out the reason why I'm keeping them anonymous, because some of the questions that I get asked over email are, asking for things basically for free. And while I can understand it, like, oh, it doesn't hurt to ask, sometimes it kind of does hurt to ask, especially if you're wanting to get your own way and you want someone to work for free. I don't work for free. Sorry, I don't. So this person emailed me, and their email subject line is interpretation help. So already it's just like, you're asking me to interpret a reading that you did. Now, if this person explored my website a little bit more, they would know that I do offer a session in which I help tutor you through your tarot reading, whatever it is. Now, this is not a time for you to email me or book a session saying, well, this other reader said blah 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 blah, and these are the cards that came up. It's just like, no. I don't mess with that. If you have questions about your reading with another person, you should ask that person in the space of the reading. And a lot of the time when people ask about other readings, they're normally asking about other readings so that they can get to the answer that they want instead of the answer that they got from that psychic or that tarot reader. I'm speaking in generalities, of course, but I have seen that happen a lot. And I know when to spot if a client is bouncing from psychic to psychic to psychic, trying to get the answer that they want rather than the answer that they got. Sometimes the end of the line is me, and I'm saying, I guess, the opposite of what everybody else said to them, and they appreciate it. And then other times, I might be a stop on the road because I am answering in the same way that everybody else answered, where it's just like, no, he's not coming back to you, or no, this is not working out, or whatever. So I never know. I never know if I'm the last stop or the first stop or the middle stop in a line of, seekers trying to seek out the exact answer that they want. Anyway, so in this case, this person emailed me writing interpretation help. I'm not going to get into this, but they basically say hello. They don't even address me by name. They don't even acknowledge, that they follow my work. They don't even say, like, I noticed that you wrote an article on blah, or I follow your podcast, or I follow the Cardslingers Coast to Coast podcast that you do with Jamie and Melissa. Like, no real acknowledgement of my work or anything. They just go, hello. I did a Celtic Cross reading for a couple, and I'm having trouble interpreting, and then literally gets into possible outcome, future outcome, final outcome confused me, maybe this, maybe that, and also the past confused me, and I have attached a picture. If there's any insight you can provide, I would greatly appreciate it, thank you. And then attached a picture of the reading. Now, I haven't even clicked on the damn thing. And I think as you're listening to this story, you can kind of understand why. This is someone that's coming at me in my email and asking me to help them, but not really giving any, not really giving any reason why I should help them. There is a hello and there is a thank you, but in between the hello and the thank you, it's just a dump of, this is the reading. Can you, help me interpret it? Which is kind of a demanding, aggressive energy. And I don't usually do that. So here's the thing. What I am going to reply to this person, actually, I'm probably not going to reply to this person at all. This was from about a month ago, but I would say for any of you that is coming to me asking me to interpret a reading, yes, I can do that as long as the reading is yours. If it's a teachable moment, if you are, in earnest learning the tarot and you want, my eyes basically on your paper to see like, oh, well, here's how I would interpret that. Here's how I would interpret that. You can book a tarot tutoring session, and I would encourage you to do so. And I think I have both email options for that, and you can also book a regular reading and just say in the notes to sellers section when you're purchasing the reading, like, this is a tarot tutoring session. That's totally fine. But see the difference between that, where, you're honoring my time, you're asking me for help, you're asking me to perform a function of my job, and you are paying me to do it. That is completely fine, as opposed to this, where somebody is coming at me aggressively in my inbox demanding my help. So that's mailbag mail number 1. Second mailbag question. My name is blank. Gonna keep them anonymous. I'm really into spirituality, astrology, and picked up a tarot deck a couple of months ago, and I love it. I've learned from books and videos on how to read, but I really want to become a professional. Are you a teacher? Do you know any courses I could take? Thank you so much. Notice the difference being tone between those two back-to-back emails, right? Back-to-back mails. So yes, yes, I have quite a few suggestions for you. So the first suggestion I know that you're looking into, you're learning from books, which is a really great start. That's how I started learning. At the time that I started learning, I was 16 years old. And I also wrote about that on my website, where I bought a tarot deck for my mother that was not so well received. And she was just like, oh, well, you can read the cards for me, and ended up giving back that deck to me. And so that's kind of how I started reading tarot. Now, if you're into tarot, and it's completely fine if you don't want to become a professional tarot reader, if it's something that you want to do with just your friends or your family, or reading for yourself as your own personal spiritual practice, that is totally fine. But this person is asking, like, how do I become a professional? And I would say you're well on your way by learning books, videos, yes. I do have a course called the Tarot Intuitive course, which hasn't run in a couple of years, but I am thinking about doing that again and making it into an evergreen course. So work is going on that. So you can either have me or as a tarot teacher. There's also several tarot teachers out there that I would recommend. You can also listen to the Cardslingers Coast to Coast podcast. We have an entire series of episodes on, what to charge and, how to become a professional. So I would recommend that you check that out. Check out the podcast. Also, if you haven't picked up my book yet, you can pick up my book, How to Read Tarot Profiles, Guided Exercises, and Reference Charts. That is by me, Hilary Perry Haggerty. And it has the Lover's card on the cover. It is a hardback, and it is produced, the publisher is Flame Tree Publishing, who is based in the UK. But my book should be available anywhere you get books from. You can ask for it by name, and you can also ask for it by ISBN. ISBN is 978-1-80417-2360. So I would check that out too. I think that's a great start for you to continue with your learning. Now, you did say that you wanted to become a professional, and becoming a professional, it's just like, you got to have guinea pigs. You've got to have practice, 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 practice. And while I would say that learning from books, learning from videos, the fact that there is the tube of you out there, where you could basically learn anything, anything under the free world. I think that's a great reference point. But also, I would really encourage you to take some of those with a grain of salt, because anyone can put those videos out there. And so sometimes you don't know who's a reputable person or not. Sometimes you don't know if the information is good or not. So I really would encourage you to use your intuition when seeking out tarot training online. Now, here's the reason why I would recommend my Tarot Intuitive course, because of that. Like, I had this whole almost imposter syndrome about creating my course for the first time. And the reason why is because, why would anyone pay me to teach them tarot if they can learn tarot online for free on a website like the Tube of You? And here's the reason why. And this is straight from my splash page for the Tarot Intuitive. I will include that in the show notes. It's just tarotbyhilary.com/tarot-intuitive. Let's see. This is what intuition is for: guiding us, helping us, making our roads in life and literal throughways just a little bit easier. Intuition is like GPS for your life. If you know where the traffic jams or accidents lie, you'll know when and how to reroute. But if you're not in touch with your intuition, you get into a lot more jams that you may have been able to avoid. But what if it didn't have to be that way? No one likes to hear the phrase, "I told you so." So isn't it time you took that phrase out of your vocabulary when it comes to your intuition? So when taking my course, after taking my course, this is what a couple of people have said. They've become a person with strong intuition, with little room to doubt it, someone who knows things on purpose instead of stumbling on their intuition by accident, a confident human being that trusts that they have intuition, that it is an innate gift that makes their life easier. And this is the reason why I say at the beginning of every podcast episode, at the beginning of every live stream that I do, and also at the end too, it's like, I'm here to put you in touch with the beautiful gift of your intuition. And yes, my friends, you do have intuition. Don't argue with me about it. I believe that. I really believe that everybody has intuition. So intuition is something that we were given a long time ago so that we didn't get eaten by saber-toothed tigers. Something that would help us help to keep us safe. Now that its job is a little less dire in nature, it's still there, allowing you to avoid pitfalls, save time, save yourself from costly mistakes, prepare yourself for big things coming. And tarot is a tool to help you access that innate intuition that's inside of you. So is the power coming from the cards? No, I don't think the power of intuition is coming from the cards. I think that the cards are a way for us to understand what our intuition is trying to tell us. It's a tool like anything else. So I've been reading, like I said at the top of the episode, I've been reading the tarot since I was 16 years old. And it's over 20 years later now. And I am a professional tarot reader. And I still read tarot. I read tarot professionally. I read tarot personally. But what tarot has given me has been more than just knowing how to read the cards, knowing like, my career. It's something far more precious, is that ability to access and trust in my intuition. And that's what I want to give to people that are my students. I would like you to be able to access and trust in your intuition. And when I first started reading tarot, I had no one to help me except my tarot deck and reference books. So very much like the person that wrote that email, they're learning through books, they're learning through the Tube of You. And I remember thinking to myself when I was first learning, I will never remember any of this stuff, and I will never be a true tarot reader. And I would cry about it. And I would quiz myself on memorizing the meanings in the little white book in a flashcard kind of fashion. And by the way, I would not recommend memorization as one of the tools. I mean, if memorization works for you, that's fine. But most of the time, memorization doesn't work for people. And they also get really, really overwhelmed. And then they get frustrated and they give up. And I don't want you to give up on your tarot learning. I really don't. So what I would do was I would memorize the meanings or try to memorize the meanings in the little white book. And then I would pull a card. And then I would pull a card, and then I would go back to the little white book. And then I would do it again and again. I flipped from tarot card to book and back to the tarot card. And then I'd cry some more. And then I said to myself, I just wasn't going to get it. And then one day, I can't even say what happened. It all clicked for me. And I finally went from not knowing tarot, frustrated as all hell, to knowing it. And I wish I could bottle that moment for you and pinpoint it for you. The time that I went from I'll never learn this to I know this, I wish I could bottle it for you or put it in pill form and hand it to you. But if you've been with me so far, you already know that that probably wouldn't work, because you have to go on your own journey to learning tarot, much like I did. And your journey is going to look different. What I do know is what does work in trying to learn tarot. And I want to save you the time and frustration that I dealt with when I first started reading tarot. And that's why I created my chorus. And it's about a 5-week chorus, 4 weeks for the main modules, and then a 5th week is a bonus module of your choosing, so that you can feel confident in your work and personal decisions, trust your intuition more fully, and know that you finally have said yes to the gift that has been waiting to be revealed to you. So, more about that when I make it into an evergreen program. And I would really recommend for you to get a tarot deck that is Rider-Waite-Smith based, either a Rider-Waite-Smith deck or a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck with illustrated pips. Because non-illustrated pips, you're just going to see 5 batons on a plain background, and that's the 5 of Wands, and that doesn't tell you anything from a symbolic perspective, so your intuition will have nothing to spark onto or glom onto to be able to start to develop. So this is the reason why I recommend using a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck with illustrated pips. So that means Ace through 10 of the minor arcana, you have a story in each and every card. And so that gives you more symbolic room to grow on instead of having non-illustrated pips. Now, if you're already down with non-illustrated pips and it works for you just fine, like by all means, continue. If you found a deck that works for you, continue with that deck. I'm, again, speaking in generalities for what I found when people are just trying to learn tarot and are really struggling. So let's make it a little bit easier for you. It doesn't have to be this hard. So And I have OGs that are still in the chorus because this is an evergreen, this is a lifetime chorus. Like when you sign up for the chorus, you're in for life. And the next time I do the trainings live, like you're getting those trainings. So and that's basically my gift to the people that, you know, took a chance on an unknown kid when I was in beta testing of the chorus. And so they have had lifetime access since the inception of the Tarot Intuitive course. So anyway, if you can't afford that, that's totally fine. I get it. You're learning, you're beginning. I understand that. You can continue to study online on the tube of you. And you can even look at this splash page that I created for this chorus and follow along on your own. So the 4 modules are Call SOS. So that's basically learning the basic structure of the tarot deck. Learning the rules will give you a springboard into making the tarot your own, so you can read a tarot card confidently. S stands for structure, O stands for objectivity, and learning how to get into an objective headspace so that you can read tarot more effectively for yourself and also for others. And then symbolism, learning the common symbols used in tarot cards to access that card's meaning quickly without unnecessary memorization, because I don't think memorization is necessary. If your brain works that way, by all means, that's fine. But my brain don't work that way. The second module is making friends with the clairs, which is basically psychic knowledge, or the different ways a person can receive intuition or psychic knowledge. And in that module, we identify your clairs, how your intuition speaks to you, so that you know when it's talking, and the difference between your intuitive voice and the voice of fear. And that's a big module, folks. Like that is something that people are still learning about. Like, how do I know? How do I know that this isn't my fear talking, that this is my intuition talking? And really quickly, the simple answer, the quick answer for that is intuition is normally neutral. It's neither a positive nor a negative. It's just a very neutral message. While the voice of fear is catastrophizing, it feels like contraction in your stomach, or at least it does for me. But that is the reason why we spend an entire module on the clairs, on psychic information, how you receive it, because people receive psychic information differently, and it's all intuition, but you might be receiving it differently than another person. And your clairs, usually there's a combination of 2 or more that is the most dominant in you. Your clairs are going to be different, and your combination of clairs is going to be different than somebody else. So if you're receiving intuitive information and the person next to you is also receiving intuitive information, you may be receiving it in different ways. And so it can be hard sometimes to differentiate, is this my intuition talking because I'm receiving it differently? And is this intuition or fear? So we work on that a lot in the chorus. The third module is about spreads, learning and creating tarot spreads. And if you want to give a reading, even if it's for yourself alone, you'll need to know how positional meanings and interaction of multiple tarot cards in a spread combine to form a complete tarot reading. Your mission in that module is to give a tarot reading with more than one card. And this is when everything you've learned in modules 1 and 2 come together, and where tarot gets, in my opinion, really fun. And I also teach the Celtic Cross and a simple 3-card spread that you can use again and again for readings. And then you can also learn how to create your own tarot spreads. And also, this is really like mind-blowing to some people. There are some professional tarot readers that don't read with spreads. And you can still be a legitimate tarot reader without reading with spreads. So we also talk about that in Cardslingers Coast to Coast in one of our podcast episodes. I think we have 2 episodes on spreads, or to spread or not to spread. And then the final module is framing questions and how to create an empowering tarot experience by crafting good questions for a divination system, not just for tarot. So learning how to frame questions for the tarot in an empowering way, and how you can get the best answers. How can you get the best answers from the tarot if you're not asking the right questions? So you'll be given example questions that you can craft for your own or your client's needs. And actually, I can give you that. Like, I can provide that in the show notes too. Because it's a list of questions that I provide to each and every client when they book a reading with me. I include a link to that so that they can bring those types of questions, or at least the framework for those types of questions, to the reading. And then also, I'm happy to work with my clients to frame their questions in a way that the tarot can answer them more accurately and more completely for them. So those are the 4 main modules. And then the closure module is celebration, announcement, winners, prizes, how to continue with the tarot. And you will have already established your daily tarot practice, giving direct access to your intuition and getting intuitive hits on purpose and not by accident. And that is also the time that I usually teach a bonus module of the majority of classes choosing. So, or at least that's how things have run the last few times that I have taught this course. Bonus modules have included, I think, charm casting, EFT tapping, dowsing and pendulum work. I think those were the bonus modules that people asked for. And I think 2-card tarot combinations, and how to read 2-card combos more effectively. So a very, very long answer to a question to someone who's looking to become a professional tarot reader. And they are younger. So I think they're not out of high school yet. But for someone that's looking to become a professional, those are some of the advice points I would say is learn the tarot, learn it thoroughly, learn it well, be off book as well. So it's just like that whole thing that I was saying about my own experience, where I was flipping from card to book to book to card. If you're reading for money with clients, you can't be on book for your tarot meetings if you're accepting money for readings. But what you can do, and what I strongly encourage my students to do if they are looking to be professional readers, is give the reading, be very honest upfront with the person that you're reading for, and saying, I am not accepting money yet for my readings. I am looking for practice, but I will accept your feedback in exchange for the reading. So like your testimonial in exchange for a reading. And that way, when you are ready, when you feel ready, when you're off book and you're ready to start charging people, you have a testimonials page ready to go of the people that you've read for when you were learning. I think that's a great, like, that's my biggest piece of advice for the people that are learning tarot and want to eventually transition into doing tarot readings professionally. That way, expectations are very honest, like there is a baseline of expectations there. And I think establishing expectations before you're even sitting in the reading space is the best way to go forthrightly into a career in tarot. So I hope that helped, reader and the person that emailed me. Very long answer, but it is one of the frequently asked questions that I get. And if you're looking to become one of my students, like follow, become a newsletter subscriber, I would encourage it, so that you can see the next time that I'm offering that. But like, to do it on your own, like, yes, you can do it on your own, but it's easier sometimes to learn it with someone, and then we can help you kind of sort through all of the thousands and millions of Tube of You videos on like how to read a Celtic Cross or how to do this, like not all the information on the internet is the best. So it's usually easier to be guided by someone. But like, can you do it on your own? absolutely, you can do it on your own. But it's going to probably be a little bit more difficult. So, like, I know that there's a story of like one of my friends that basically sent people like, I want to learn with you. And it's just like, no. Like, go away for a year, learn your stuff, then come back. And there's the only one person that actually did that. That's not my story, that's her story. But there are tarot teachers out there. And you know, it's not just if we accept students, it's just like the student is a reflection of the teacher, and the teacher is a reflection of the student. So understand that too. When you're working with someone or asking to work with someone directly, like, the answer may be no, not because we don't like you. We might like you just fine. It's just because, you know, they might not be accepting students right now, you know, or that might not be how they approach their tarot work. So, all right, that's question number 2. Let's see what else we've got in the mailbag. All right, the final email in the mailbag is one that I got a while ago, and I did end up answering them, but then heard nothing from them. And this is kind of typical. And also for the person that I just answered your question, like, this is something, if you want to be a tarot professional, this is something that you may come to expect, like that the whole requests for readings, non-paid. I don't know why. I don't know why it is that people think that we'll just give away free readings. And if you look at the things that I do all the time, like, I provide a lot of free content for people. And the more I think about it, the more I realize just how much I do. I do a weekly live stream in which I usually talk about a different tarot or divination topic. On that live stream, I've started doing a mid-episode reading where one person can win a 3-card reading for me live on the air. And that's been very popular. But people, it's almost as if the amount of things that I do or offer is inversely proportional to the amount of demands that I start to get. And if you come at me with a demanding energy, it's just not going to go well for you. And I think that's true of everyone. Like, don't come at readers or anyone in any profession with a demanding energy. You'll probably go a lot further catching flies with honey rather than vinegar. Okay. Like, if you're nice, be nice about it, be polite about it, but also understand that the answer may be no. Like, no, I don't give free readings. So this person emailed me way back in September asking, just wondering if I can get a quick reading. Also, if you can refer or do an astral natal chart reading, that would be awesome. Thank you. Okay. Well, I mean, brief, relatively polite, but brief, but the answer is going to be no to that. One, I am not an astrologer. I know just enough astrology to be dangerous. However, I do have places that I can recommend where you can get a natal chart reading for free. Basically, you can calculate it and you can get it done for free. Astro.com is one such place. Cafe Astrology is another. Cafeastrology.com is another place. Okay. So I replied back to this person and I said, readings are booked through my website, tarotbyhilary.com. I look forward to working with you. Never heard from them again. Regarding astrology, I can recommend free natal charts on astro.com. And if you're looking for an astrologer, I can recommend, and I picked someone out of my list of astrologers that I know, and gave her information and her website and followed up with blessings, Hilary. So, readings are booked through my website. Never heard from them again. Astrology, here's the referral. So please know, please know, if you are embarking in a career in the metaphysical field, people are going to be asking you for, oh, what are you feeling? What are you sensing? They'll also ask, like, do you read palms? Even though you say, I'm a tarot reader, I'm a card reader, they'll like hold out their palm. Like, yeah, I don't read palms. Maybe you do. Maybe you do read palms, but I'm sure the opposite happens where they're a palm reader. They say they're a palm reader and it's just like, oh, well, where are the tarot cards? you know? It's weird. It's a weird profession. I do love it, but it is a weird profession. You will get asked strange questions, and you also may get demanding people that want freebies. And for you, you have to choose when you give readings or not. You have to choose who you take on as a client. But I would say there has to be an energetic exchange if you're going to do that. Like what I was saying before to the second mailbag question. Exchange a reading for a testimonial while you're learning, while you're still on book. And always, always be honest about expectations. So this episode has become something completely different than what I originally thought I wanted to do for this week's episode. So I'm just going to roll with it. I keep on thinking back to the second mailbag question, which is, how do I become a professional tarot reader? And I'm just remembering to recommend Melissa Sanova's book, Kitchen Table Tarot. So Kitchen Table Tarot, pull up a chair, shuffle the cards, let's talk tarot. Melissa Sanova, this was her first book. Melissa is one of the two other tarot readers that I do the Cardslingers Coast to Coast podcast with. So you can check that out wherever you subscribe to your podcasts. Really good information in there too. That would be another resource that I would recommend, is listening to that podcast. But chapter 7 of this book is professional tarot reading. And we all kind of go through this process when we're learning. There's a lot of us that have this weird charging money for readings thing, where it's just like, oh, well, there are some people that say, oh, well, you shouldn't be charging for your gifts. So Melissa was told about this, or she writes about this in chapter 7 of Kitchen Table Tarot. I felt bad that I was charging for services. Because it's a gift, right? Sharing this information is a good thing to do for someone. So are Reiki and massage, and we pay for those. I still didn't get it. Then Mary, to whom this book is dedicated, said, in the old days, the village would bring the wise woman food and firewood and keep your house safe. No one is going to bring you food these days, so there has to be an exchange. That's a little bit of what I was saying before. There has to be an exchange of energy of some kind. Maybe, they're buying you a cup of coffee or a meal in exchange for a reading. Maybe they are, again, giving you a testimonial in exchange for a reading if you're just starting out. Maybe they're bartering with you as well. Even though I learned quite quickly from my business mentor, Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady, that it's just like, when you barter, like, how many massages can one human possibly have stacked up, So that can be a problem with the barter system, is, like, it just makes it easier for everyone if you're paying money in exchange for the reading. Because as far as I know, my phone bill can't get paid by tarot reading or a massage. They don't take that kind of currency. Money is the established currency. Anyway, so there really does have to be an exchange. Oh yes, because no one else is going to pay my electric bill. That's her example. On occasion, I will donate readings or lower my prices at my own discretion. Again, very important, at your own discretion. Why? Because I know what it's like to be broke and need an answer. I'm very lucky to have friends who would swap readings with me when I was having hard times, but I know not everyone does that. I know that sometimes you just need a little light to shine down, and it would be great if you could find someone reputable to hold the flashlight. I think that's a great analogy. Melissa then goes on to say, I am not a reader for the money. I'm a reader because I like to do it. I actually need to do it. I'm not sure really how to turn it off. However, I think that if you undervalue yourself, it diminishes the value of your service. I think too, if 80% of my readings are done at regular rates, it behooves me to make sure that 20% of them are affordable and within reach. If you decide to read professionally, you will find that the more seriously you take what you do, the more seriously you are taken as a tarot reader. So that is the start of the advice in the professional tarot reading chapter of her book. So there's tarot etiquette in here. There is payment, there's social media, etc. So it's a very brief chapter, but I think it gives really valuable information to, mailbag number 2 sender for professional tarot readings. And you may find that you start to go down that road and decide that you don't like it, and that's totally fine too. And the reason why I'm saying this episode kind of like took a turn that I was not expecting is because I was going to share a series of articles or dueling articles that I did with my business mentor, Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady, and myself, where she is a full-time tarot reader and I at the time was a part-time tarot reader. I am actually a part-time tarot reader as of this recording because I do have another job in retail, but this is my business. And it is still a business. Just because I'm doing it part-time, that doesn't, delegitimize the fact that I am a professional tarot reader accepting money for my services. And so we wanted to kind of address this strange mythology, misnomers, misinformation that comes along with you doing tarot professionally full-time versus tarot part-time. And so I was going to do an entire episode on that, maybe next week. But just because like the majority of people that do tarot do it part-time, they don't do it full-time because a lot of the time they are not going to have enough of a clientele to keep a full-time tarot practice. Now, if you're in demand and you're reading tarot full-time, that's fantastic. That's great. But that is a rarity in this business and not the majority. And I really did think at the beginning of my professional tarot career that I was somehow less of a tarot reader because I was doing it part-time, because I had a full-time job or because I had another part-time job. And that I was only able to dedicate so many hours to my tarot business a week. And I found out from talking with other tarot readers that that is actually very, very common. And most of the time, the people that are seeming to have like a thriving tarot business actually has another source of income from somewhere else. They might be married and the spouse has a very lucrative position and is supporting the family in that way while they're able to pursue their dreams of, being a tarot reader. And that's great. Don't knock it, I don't knock it at all. However, sometimes it's not portrayed very realistically, and then people assume that you are the breadwinner of the family and you're making tons and tons of cash doing tarot readings. That simply is not the reality most of the time when you get into this work professionally. And if you are looking to get into this work professionally, most of us don't do it for the money. We're not there going like, I'm going to make zillions and zillions of dollars reading tarot for people. Most of the time, as Melissa wrote in her book, like we do it because we love it. We do it because we have to. We do it because our soul is being called to help people through reading cards for them, through providing clarity for them, through providing answers for them, through the symbology of tarot or runes or I Ching or whatever divination system that you use. So I will probably record another episode about that, about the realities of part-time tarot reading versus full-time tarot reading, and that it's still a business. It's not a hobby. It's still a business. And I will leave you with the words of my mentor, Teresa Reed. Treat your business like a business. You want hobby money? Then treat it like a hobby. But if you want a business, you treat your tarot business like a business, because it is. I will leave you with that and see you again next week.